Star Wars fans are completely missing the most important thing Kathleen Kennedy said about her Lucasfilm future. Star Wars fans are completely missing the most important thing Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy recently said when she addressed her potential retirement. The last week has been something of a tumultuous one in the Star Wars fandom, with reports that controversial Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy is soon to retire. Kennedy ultimately addressed these claims in an interview with Deadline, insisting she's not set to leave Star Wars anytime soon. Kennedy's word choice was quite careful. She confirmed that succession planning is in progress and that she will be making announcements sometime in the next few months or years. Kennedy carefully avoided giving a timescale for that, instead focusing on the fact she'll be remaining active in Star Wars even when she's no longer president. But perhaps the most important comment has been largely missed. Kennedy spoke openly about Lucasfilm's succession planning, as openly as possible. Deadline's interview with Kennedy is a curious one, and it heavily criticizes Matt Belloni, the industry insider who first broke the story of Kennedy's apparent retirement. Kennedy tells quite a lot about the future of Star Wars, and confirms succession planning is underway, but then makes an important point. I'm continuing to stay at Lucasfilm and looking very thoughtfully with Bob Iger and Alan Horn as to who's stepping in. So that is all underway, and we have every right to make that announcement when we want to make it. Later, Kennedy expresses similar frustration over the way every aspect of Star Wars production is discussed. What's troubling and frustrating is that our development gets scrutinized, and I don't know any other production company where their development gets scrutinized like that. It's very hard for anything to happen within Star Wars without some aspect of it becoming public before you even want it to become public. So I guess managing the message in some way is also quite a challenge because, of course, not every single thing we put in development we are going to make. That's not unusual. We want to make those things that we feel are the best. We want to make those things that, as time passes, feel relevant to what the audience is responding to. So there's constant discussion around that. So yeah, that's a tricky one because a lot of the scrutiny around Star Wars and the negativity has been about development. Of course, we're going to develop lots of different things with an understanding that not everything gets made. Kennedy's point is a simple one, that there's a sense of hyper-focus on Lucasfilm that she doesn't feel is beneficial or, indeed, appropriate. To be fair, when it comes to production, there's a sense in which events like the Disney Investor Day announcements in 2020, which led to so many canceled Star Wars movies and TV shows, contributed. The point stands, though, Kennedy feels it's all gotten out of hand. It's likely Marvel Studios is the closest comparison with Lucasfilm, with the MCU coming under similar levels of scrutiny. Interestingly, there have been recent reports Marvel Studios intend to follow the Lucasfilm pattern, putting more concepts through the early stages of development before committing to them. Lucasfilm is trying to control the narrative now. Kennedy effectively doubled down on this point, indicating she feels a lot of the current discussion is unreasonable. As she points out, the succession is simply an internal process that goes on inside a large corporation and a publicly held company, and that means there are limits to what Lucasfilm can say and when. Everything has to be done in a certain legal way, and there's nothing unusual about that. Succession planning is in progress, and that naturally means the topic of Kennedy's eventual replacement is a live one right now. And yet, we Star Wars fans would perhaps do well to take Kennedy's words to heart. This sense of hyper-focus on a company's internal processes isn't really helping. Lucasfilm is a company, and it has to go through things in a certain way, meaning announcements will be made when the time is right. Until then, we all need to cultivate the patience of the Jedi.